begin our September 17th meeting, strategic planning meeting. At this time, we call ourselves to order. Item 1, Monroe Union County Census Complete Count Committee. Teresa, count clerk. You're up front.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, Manager, Attorney, staff. I want to introduce first, we have been asked to chair the Complete Count Committee, but we felt like you should have a little background on the census. And so I'm going to introduce Pete Savo. He's going to be our lead, and he's going to talk about the census and why it's important. And he's with the United States Census 2020.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mayor, Council, like I said, my name is Peter Sabo. I'm a partnership specialist with the U.S. Census Bureau, and my role is to help educate and engage the populace about the upcoming 2020 census, and with your help, encourage the participation in that 2020 census so that we can get the most complete and accurate count. The goal of the 2020 census is to count everybody once, only once, and in the right spot. We want to make sure that everybody gets counted, and especially those hard-to-count populations, those low response rates, we want to make sure we do our best to target those areas. Why do we do this? Well, two most important reasons. One, as you probably know, it deals with the reallocation, or the reapportionment of the 435 congressional seats in the U.S. Congress. But more importantly, in my opinion, there's $675 billion that gets distributed annually across this country. And what we tell people is the money goes where the response is, not necessarily where the need is. So Union County has grown about 20%, or somewhere between 15 and 20% since the last census. We want to make sure that everybody gets counted. You guys get that recognition for not only the county but the city, and also that we get the most bang for our buck, let's say. As you can see, the response rate in 2000 and 2010 for North Carolina was 69 and 76% respectively. In Union County, it was 76 and 81%. Unfortunately, they don't go lower than county. The goal for the governor this year for 2020 census is 82%. What we try to tell people, if you guys were to stick at that 81% for the county, there's about 45,000 people in the county that would not get counted. That's why it's important that everybody comes together, specifically at the lower levels, to get the word out, to encourage and educate people to participate in the 2020 census. What we try to do is we look for those hard-to-count populations, the target populations, children under 5, veterans, migrant farm workers, persons with limited English proficiency, to just name a few. But to think about it, children under 5, last time in 2010, they were the most underrated or undercounted population at almost 6.4% undercounted, which means more than 1 million kids did not get counted last time in 2010. Those kids are now getting into elementary school, middle school, and if we didn't count them last time, that's why we don't necessarily have proper resources across this country for those kids getting into school. That's why it's important that we get out and we get everybody to participate. We educate people that when it comes time for the census, they make sure that they count every single person in their household. Census data is used in many different ways. Obviously, when it comes to education, we spoke about. It's also used to help with Head Start, school lunch programs, Pell Grants. Those are 3 things in the top 10 of that $675 billion. Healthcare, transportation, again, highway and roads are in that top 10 for use of that money. Social services and emergency response. Where do hospitals go? Where are businesses going to make their decisions on what to bring? Making sure that there's a populace or a population that's going to serve, that they can serve. How are you gonna be able to respond? Well, Census 2020 is April 1st, and there's gonna be 3 ways that you can respond. First is gonna be self-response through the internet. Around mid-March, every address will receive a postcard, and on that postcard, it's gonna invite them to participate in the 2020 census via the internet. If otherwise, they can respond via a toll-free number. And the last way would be through a paper questionnaire. Paper questionnaires will be in English and Spanish. The internet and the telephone, there are 12 different languages that you can respond to via those 2 platforms. And if you don't respond through one of those, then around mid-May through the end of July, those famous enumerators are going to come through, knocking on the doors, and try to get everybody to respond. Because at the end of the day, like I said, we want to make sure we get the most accurate count. We get everybody counted, and we can then make sure that the county and the city is represented properly. Obviously, when people talk about responding through the internet, confidentiality is an important piece. The things to know is everybody in the Census Bureau takes a lifelong oath that we would not disclose any personal information. When people respond via the internet, once their information hits the Census Bureau, their information is taken offline, their personal information is stripped away, and the rest of the information is just grouped together to form the data that you see released through the Census Bureau. The Census Bureau maintains that confidentiality for 72 years. So everything from 1950 to now is still kept confidential. 1940 and prior, all the way up to 1790 when the first census was done, that information is available to the public. Again, we want to make sure that everybody gets counted. And with your help as trusted voices in the community, we want to make sure that we partner with you to help get the word out, to educate, and then encourage people to participate in the 2020 census. Do you have any questions of me at this time?
Is there any government entity that could change the confidentiality stipulation or require you to release information from the census?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Who gave you that? Who gave you the power to have confidentiality? Where does that come from? Does that come from Congress? Does it come from some declaration of?
Well, it's in the Constitution. The census is in the Constitution. Let me go back and just verify that exact question that you're asking.
Okay.
But I know in U.S. Code, it has that the Census Bureau must maintain that confidentiality. And we don't share information with any organization, any personal data. All the information that's shared is available to the public that you can find on the website. There's no personal information that is ever shared with any other government organization or any individual.
Jordan, our understanding is that the requirement of the census is what's constitutionally provided, but the mechanism and methods were set by Congress. Congress couldn't make that change. All the Census Bureau is adamant about keeping materials confidential. It only takes a bad day in Congress and the president signing a bad bill to do that.
Thank you.
Question, you may have answered this, and it's getting it. Where does the census count? What department does it go to?
Once the data is collected,
Yes.
it's a portion of the Department of Commerce, and the information on December 31st goes directly to the president, and then he distributes it out to the states so they can do the redistricting of the seats.
So what is given to him is what he sends out? Does he have to send out exactly what you send him?
That I'm not 100% positive. Let me check on that and get back with you, Matt.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. Good report. Appreciate you coming down, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
to you about the complete count committees. Again, I'm Teresa Camper with the Planning and Development Department. We are partnering with Union County in conducting the census. Union County is actually going to be collecting the data, and then we will just be reviewing it for accuracy and addressing, etc. So one of the things that we do is we alternate out to meetings through the COG in various areas, and one of the meetings that I attended talked about the complete count committee, and they had listed a large map that showed that we were not listed as participants in Union County, and so we came back and met with the census contacts with Union County. It's a staff level committee, and talked about the complete count committee, and they came back after talking to the county manager and asked if the city would chair the complete count committee, and then they would continue to be the ones that collect the major data. And what this will mean is that we will, if you decide to pass the resolution allowing us to do that, then Union County will follow suit and they'll pass a similar resolution, and then the various municipalities that are in Union County will follow suit to that in having a resolution, because the federal government has asked that each city, participant municipality, county also have the resolution to the complete count committees. So what will happen with this is we will start forming committees in November, and we'll work through the stakeholders, because our biggest concern in Monroe is to keep our population counts up, to make sure everyone's counted. So we need to make sure that our homeless shelters, anyone that's housing people in boarding houses, etc., are going to be counted. The other concern that we have is people may not have access to computers, so we want to make sure our Council of Aging and various agencies are part of it so that we can give access to people for computers. The public library is opening their units up so people can come in there, but we just want to make sure, specifically for Monroe, that we are getting everyone counted, because we want to keep our population up. Officially, we still have the largest population count for Union County. However, there is some rumors that another municipality is gaining population. So one of the things that we did was to make sure that we were able to include our new construction addressing, so that when in 2020 comes out, because we had the cutoff for the data, that if we had anything in the system, we'd be able to use the new subdivisions that you guys have approved. So if there is some occupied housing, we'd be able to capture those.
Can I ask you a question? With the committee, will every demographic be represented on the stakeholder committee?
Well, so the stakeholder committee is where we're going first, to say we need volunteers to come out of that group. The county will be doing the same thing and various things. But what we're looking for, we'll have several subcommittees which will come out of these agencies to come forward to be able to speak Spanish. We have one representative who's agreed that she would be the one to be the spokesman to speak Spanish. We are going to work so that each community feels comfortable with what's happening. We want to make sure that that's the most important thing, that people get accurate information, they're comfortable, and that they participate.
So that answer is no.
Well, no, I believe there's going to be diverse. I mean,
I don't mean diverse, I mean, will every demographic be represented? Because I know we have Native Americans here, we have Latinos here, we have blacks here, we have Caucasian here, we have Asian here.
Well, that would
Maybe
be
something else, I don't know.
that would be our goal, is to. But at this point, we have to form the committee. We have to get the volunteers. But our goal is to make sure we also have Russian languages spoke here. It's also a Vietnam language that the Justice Department came forward and shared some information saying that we were disproportionately impacted by the Vietnamese language. So we want to make sure that we get as much representation as we can. So yes, that would be the goal, is to make sure we're getting all the languages captured and we're reaching the populations. It would take going into faith-based institutes, other nonprofits, to get them to go down into the communities and get the contacts.
So a census enumerator is going to be used at all?
Not for our committee. This is
I
just,
mean for the committee, I mean when they actually go out and, count people and find out how many people's in the household,
repeat your question, ma'am?
Will
So I make sure-
census enumerators be used, to go in and actually count people?
Yes, so, what will happen is, mid-March, everybody will receive a postcard inviting them to participate one of those three ways. If they don't participate, they'll get up to 3 reminders. If they don't, then yes, census enumerators will go to all the addresses that we have on file that have not responded to the census, and the enumerators at that time will try to get them to respond through face-to-face.
What about the other cities? Will each city in the county have someone that is working, with the county, similar to the way you're going to be working with the county in the?
Yes, there'll be members of this committee along with Union County.
But what I'm hearing you say is Monroe is taking a significant role.
We will be chairing it.
Okay. Will you have co-chairs from each other municipality?
We're reaching out to each municipality. The county's already committed.